Okay. Again, it's my job to make you ladies sound, look, and feel as comfortable and as cool as possible. So leave it up to me. Are you ready?
Sure.
Yes.
Again, said with some apprehension. Welcome to the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast. I have two lovely guests here today, Deb and Penny from, I'm gonna try it. I think I'm gonna get it right. Cabotto chocolates? No, I didn't.
Cabotto.
Cabotto.
It's Cabot Trail.
Yes.
It was Giovanni Cabotto who landed in the area. He was not John Cabot. He only worked for the Brits for a month before he was sent over here. And therefore, his Italian name was anglicized to John Cabot. So it's really Giovanni Cabotto.
Cabotto.
And there's the chocolates.
Wow, a little bit of knowledge off the top. Amazing. So guys, if you're tuning in on the audio version, I encourage you to head over to YouTube and check the video as well, because we are now in what is the gallery and the chocolate shop on Cabot Trail, which is incredibly beautiful. And driving here today, I had to keep reminding myself that I had to keep going because I wanted to get here at a certain time and be early. But there's so many spots where you want to pull over and snap a photo or just take it in.
Did you drive around the loop or did you come over the ferry?
The loop. I was in Bedeck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, both. The thing is that it's
really?
a Y coming off the Trans-Canada.
Oh, okay.
You come out exit 11 or exit 12. Exit 12 takes you over a little tiny car ferry, 16
Oh,
cars.
I didn't
3
do
minutes
that.
maybe on your way back. Kind of fun, very pretty area.
Oh, so
and the drive definitely around the loop, what we call the loop, is beautiful.
yeah.
As well.
I think because at the end of the road, I turn left.
That's correct.
So if I went right, that's what the ferry is.
That's correct.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So
People get confused about that because it's really just a Y. They're both taking you on the Cabot Trail.
Oh, amazing. I'll have to do that on the way back for sure. So we've only just met, the three of us. Penny, we traded some emails. Were you emailing too, Deb, or were you in that? I'm
Well,
not
I
sure.
was aware of the
You were
emails.
aware of them, yeah. So Penny and I traded a few emails the past few days. So there's not much that we know of each other. So why don't you both take this opportunity to introduce yourselves to myself and the listeners, letting us know who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do. Who wants to start?
I'm the older sister, so I guess I get to start.
You'll lead the way.
Well, this whole place, the building, the gallery, the chocolates exist because of Penny. And if there's a place to start, it's with her. That's why this business is here. So I think that's why I would start with her.
Okay.
Thank you, younger sister.
Yeah. Nice plug there, sister.
Yeah.
All right. We ended up in Cape Breton, having met my husband in Moscow, Russia. We ended up in Cape Breton because my husband used to run the Celtic Lodge.
Right.
And then we had a bed and breakfast, the English Country Garden bed and breakfast for 16 years. And during that time, 10 years ago now, I bought this big building, which was a former church, turned now into an art gallery, and have run the gallery very successfully for 10 years. And with COVID, we had to do a bit of a switch around and make things a little bit more. We started the chocolates 5 years ago. I did with just a couple of chocolates on a tray. It developed. Debbie was doing the packaging in Ontario. And now my sister's moved out 3 years ago, and here we are at the gallery. My previous life was as a teacher. I taught overseas and in Ontario and in Nova Scotia for, 25 years. This was my project to transition from teaching into doing this. And of course, I was an art teacher and a drama teacher. And so that's really been my background. Did a lot of theater, started a theater group up in Ingonish, directed that for 14 years. And I've been very involved in our community. This is a fabulous community in which to live. Just wonderful, wonderful people here. Really enjoy it. And of course, the beauty. And I live right next, the ocean's right there. Deb's got a fantastic view from her place. And just really love it. So, yeah.
Amazing. Deb, give us the who and the why and the what for yourself. And sorry, do you prefer Deb or Debbie? I apologize.
Deb is good.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Well, I came out here this will be my 4th year. Although I've been, since Penny and Ian have lived out here, and once they were at the bed and breakfast, even when at the Celtic, I was out every year.
Okay.
Usually in the fall because it's
Stunning.
amazing here. And so I'd always come out for my week and things like that. And one of the things I always say is it took me, I think, 5 years before I saw a moose. And, which was because everybody said, "Where's the moose?" Well, good
Right.
luck.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, this with the chocolates, Penny started out, like she said, with the small tray, and I worked in engineering for 35 years before I came out here, and it was just I worked for a big company in London, and it just got to the point where there's something has to happen,
Right.
and I was mailing the packaging out here. And so Penny and I were talking, and we said, well, it's probably cheaper if I just move out there and do the packaging out there. And so that's how this all got started. And we just kept growing and growing the business, the chocolate end of it. So it's been really good that way. So, yeah.
How did the chocolate even like take us back to the chocolates on the tray? Like, how did that even become a thing?
Because I do paint, I do photography. However, I'm surrounded by people like Chris Tinsky, who's a phenomenal photographer, and Lisa Finney and things like that, and incredible artists like Bill Rogers, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't feel I had the quality that was the same as them, and of course, self-deprecating as we are.
We're
sending
judges.
That's
Yeah.
right. And so because of that, I wanted something that was uniquely mine.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing chocolates in my family for 25, 30 years, just as a Christmas thing. The big baskets we
Right.
share. I'm the oldest of 5 children, and so that was part of the family. But it was something that I'm into cooking, and that's always been my love.
Okay.
And so anyway, so I started this with just a few chocolates, and like I said, they kept selling faster than I could make them. And the first 3 years, it just got bigger and bigger. The table got bigger, and I just couldn't keep up. Not running a gallery full time with 35 artists,
Right.
and it was really busy in here. People loved the gallery. It does have a wow factor when the full thing is full of art,
Right.
etc. So that was my little having something that was mine. Here's a big gallery. Everybody else is making money. Maybe I could have something that represented me.
Right.
And I'm just really grateful. And of course, at this point, the reason that we have converted the big gallery into such a small space and focused on the chocolate is because of COVID. And that people's dollars are smaller,
Mm-hmm.
and that while there's still art here and people do buy the art, we focused on the chocolate. And it seems so funny that I started with this little tiny thing, and then next year we're planning on a big kitchen going in here and really focusing on our chocolate, and that the chocolate and really chocolate, like good wine and a few other things, are kind of recession proof.
Yeah, definitely.
And
I
also
totally agree.
And we've really been developing a following here on the island. Not a big one yet, but still people are coming from far and wide on the island and stopping in.
Yeah.
The best part has been this summer, if I can just digress from that, is
the
best part about this being small and focused on the chocolate and the gallery. People have driven by this building for 10 years. I have put up new things. I put new signs. I redid the tower. They're coming in. Because there's a chocolate shop sign out front.
Right.
And so they're coming in for the chocolates, and I've got to meet people from Glace Bay. I've got people from all over the island who have never stopped in here. It's been fabulous. It's been lovely to meet my neighbors, as it were.
Yeah, I think it's been a challenge, and I don't want to make this podcast or my trip here to Cape Breton to be all about COVID. I think it's important that we discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I will say in regards to it is the way I look at it, and the paradigm I see this all through, is it's given us a great opportunity to pause. Obviously, there are some hardships. There are people that are having health issues, and that's terrible. And there are some economic hardships, and businesses are closing, and that, without a doubt, is terrible as well. But I think what we are seeing is that some positives, like you said, in that we are seeing people that do have those dollars to spend, and I do believe they are there, that they're taking real consideration about, like, hey, where am I spending it, and reinvesting it in their local community, or stopping into that chocolate shop that they've driven by for the past 10 years. And I think what a great opportunity, as much as this has been a challenge for us globally, it's really allowed for us to get to know your neighbors a little bit better.
And I just love it that these people are coming from all over the island who just, or people it's hilarious when somebody comes in and said, oh, how long have you been here? I said 10 years. They go, really? I've been going to Ganesh now for 20 years. I don't remember seeing this building. I
Right.
mean, it's a big old church with a bright blue
How
roof.
do you miss
always-
it? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, but I'm just pleased that we're just getting to meet so many people from the island.
Yeah.
I think that's been a really, really great plus of all this.
Heck yes. Deb, for yourself, how did the packaging side even come to be? You have an engineering background. You were in Ontario. Your sister starts making chocolates. She's saying, "Hey, I'm getting busier." Does she call you up and say, "Hey, can you make me packaging?" Like, what were you doing that would just, it seemed like a natural fit for you to, one, start shipping things here, and then to move here?
Well, I was living in London. I was in the packaging industry.
Ontario or?
In Ontario.
Okay.
Sorry, not London,
Yeah.
England, London,
Yeah.
Ontario.
Okay.
I did work in the packaging industry when I was living in Waterloo.
Okay.
Mind you, it was all liquid filling equipment, but
Right.
I mean, I don't know, I guess just she needed some packaging because what she had, she wasn't able to find. The problem with being a small business like what we are is when you're trying to find packaging, you can't buy 3,000 pieces at one time
Yeah,
to get something at a decent price,
Right.
right? And so she sent me the dimension, and we started off with the chocolate bar boxes, and they were in pillow boxes, which, you know, you can only get standard sizes on. So I just created one because I have that ability just in me to be able to come up with a design
pretty
for
cool.
it. So yeah, I just started making them.
Are these them here in the background here, the yellow and gray ones?
Those are our boxes of 4 truffles. Our
Oh,
bars,
okay.
actually, we've changed the way the bars are made
Right.
because even the pillow boxes, because we were making so many of them,
Right.
even for me physically to be able to make as many as we needed was taking a lot of time, and it was getting more and more expensive because I could only cut 2 boxes out of 1 sheet of paper, blah, blah, blah. Well, I shouldn't say that. Anyway.
That's all right.
And so we actually ended up changing it because as we grew, the more we made, the more we were focusing on, of course, I'm also the costing person, the one that looks at all the pricing
margins
and all
and-
that
oh,
other
okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
So of course, as we're going, we're looking at all this stuff. And like, I think last year I made over 1,500 just bar tags. And
Wow.
then I make all the flowers on the top of the boxes.
Oh, wow.
As well. It's fun. It's what I do over the winter time. But getting back to the bars themselves, we're just doing too many. It was just costing way too much to do it myself. But we're still not making enough to warrant going to a company
Like larger scale.
larger scale.
Yet.
I mean, yeah.
Wait till this podcast is released. So it's something that you, like you said you had in you. You had the ability to do it, so you just
Well, I
did it.
started as a draftsman on the table. Like,
Wow.
you know,
Right.
I was on probably one of the first versions of AutoCAD that ever existed,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So getting away my age here, but anyway.
No, I know AutoCAD. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, it's just I'm a draftsman by trade. It's just, you know, the numbers and working things out that way is just what I've been doing forever. So.
But you also
just came
obviously, sorry to interrupt, you also, like your sister, have a bit of a flair for the arts as well. Because I mean, creating those things is not just, you know, a simple, like those flowers on top are ornate and they're unique and they're beautiful. So
Thank you.
So you have that artistic.
Well, thanks, but I don't actually see it that way.
No.
No, I don't, because I don't feel like I have that in me. But to me, it's all the technical end of it,
Right.
You know.
Well, sometimes art, and Penny, you can jump in on this, is very technical, right?
Absolutely, because you've got to execute it no matter how you design it. And
Right.
when it comes to problem solving, Debbie's amazing. You know, and started off with the bars, like she said, and the pillow boxes, but she's always trying to find better ways that we can do things, or more economical, or more visual. Because a lot of what we're selling is beautiful chocolate to begin with. We use Cabotto, premium Belgian chocolate. We make everything ourselves that has the chocolate in it or on it. But it's the presentation. And yes, we could go and just have a stylized box for our
Right.
chocolates. But even within each department of the chocolates, like for instance, we have a staycation collection right now, which is in pretty little pink boxes up there.
Okay.
The colored, and they're actually painted chocolates. I don't know.
I
if you've
saw
seen them.
some online.
Yes,
Yeah, beautiful.
So the painted chocolates are in these pretty. So and then there's, you know, we're into bling.
I noticed you've bejeweled the chocolate bar.
Exactly. And so because of that, we've been able to create a visual stunningness as well.
Deb's pointing
The
something out.
library.
Oh,
That-
yes.
We're going to the library. Oh,
Going to
okay.
the library. This is probably one of the best creations we have from both of us. We went to Cape Breton Books, which is a local publisher,
Shout out Cape Breton Books. Okay.
and Ron Kaplan. And of the books that he's published, we chose 7. Bonnie Thompson was really helpful with that. She gave us some suggestions, and we matched our chocolate bars to those titles.
Oh, amazing.
So we have Summer Preserves, which is our strawberry fig balsamic.
Okay.
Women of Courage, white lavender. Men's Breakfast is our maple dark chocolate. Local Hero is milk chocolate. 10 Nights Without Sleep, espresso. Cape Breton Christmas is mint, and then Rise Again, the Story of Cape Breton, is our milk orange bar.
Amazing.
And each one of these books, actually, Debbie again is the clever one who came up with the packaging, but in the front of each one is the title and our name. On the back is a blurb about the book and the ingredients, and then there is the full bar inside each one of these
Incredible.
books.
Wow.
Isn't that great? So this is probably one of the pièce de résistance. One of the things we're hopeful to do with that corporately is we would love to be able to do like the 7 golf courses
Right.
of Cape Breton, or that kind of thing when we keep
Okay.
moving it forward with it.
I was just over at Cabot Links and Cabot Cliffs yesterday. Maybe I can help with a little slide a chocolate bar into them and let them know what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
How much of the process for you is like the marketing side of it, is looking at like business growth? Like, is that something you guys consider daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly? How often are you thinking about that?
Well, I'd say daily right now because we're always looking ahead. Obviously, we're looking at Christmas right now, and
Yeah.
what does that look like?
Which is crazy.
I know it is, but there's so
have-
much
yeah.
to take into consideration
Yeah.
because the gallery closes in November.
Right.
And where are we selling our product? We do have an online presence.
Okay.
It isn't, and the whole advertising thing is not.
That's Phoebe.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
Phoebe's.
sorry.
That's all right.
Is she here?
Oh,
Oh, she must be downstairs. The whole advertising thing, we've just recently, because of a voucher that was given to us by the Safe Resilient Opening by the government, we were
Okay.
given a voucher, and that voucher is going towards helping us with advertising.
Oh, amazing.
And then the growth part of it is a daily conversation because of this big move. We have to apply for funding. Our business plan has just been recompleted by the Cape Breton Partnership
Okay.
people who've been absolutely fabulous. Shout out to Patrick Austin, who has been phenomenal.
Shout out Patrick.
Shannon.
And Shannon, who's done the business plan. And then we're in the process of getting those funds in order to do, even though what's going on in the world
Yeah.
seems like, why would you be growing at this point?
Yeah.
But to move the chocolate kitchen here to be able to better produce. We do have a connection now with Ski Cape Smoky.
Okay.
And we've been contracted to make their blueberry dark chocolate bar and their blueberry coconut bar.
Amazing. Good for you guys.
Yeah, so that's a contract we just get. So that we've just, and then hopefully will be a whole thing going on with the chocolates
Right.
and Martin Kevel, who's up there managing and running the whole thing. And so that's been an exciting.
That's so cool to hear that you guys are really, again, like I said, through this COVID madness, and not even that. It's so nice to see the community coming together to lift each other up. And I'm a big fan of the quote, "A rising tide lifts all boats." And that to me is, as you're explaining this story to me, that comes to mind, that all these people are coming together to help write business plans and secure funds. And
Absolutely.
now you've signed to this wholesale deal with I would assume one of the more highly regarded.
Well, Ski Cape Smoky's just been, I don't know if you know the whole story behind what's
A bit.
happening up there with Martin, because he's a phenomenal guy to talk to
Yeah.
if you get a chance to.
He's building like what is it? A
tree walk.
Tree walk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an incredible. There's not one in North America right now. His family has built like 20 of them. But he's done a lot of things with people. But in terms of our situation, our community, as this little community here of St. Anne's Bay, is extremely cooperative. I started reaching out with a Zoom but a connection with all of the businesses at the beginning of the season, simply because we all want to know what each other's doing and how
Right.
can we help you decide or whatever. And we're going to have another meeting after Labor Day. Okay, who's staying open till when? what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And we're always, I mean, I have the maps here, of what's in the area. So I'm always encouraging, as are other people, encouraging each other in this community to, oh, you must stop here, you must stop there, that kind of thing. So of all the communities, well, I've never lived in a community like this before, because I guess because there's fewer people, you get to know them.
Right.
But I've never lived in a community that feels this connected.
I think it takes more than that. I think, yeah, the numbers play into it, but there has to be a willingness of the people to facilitate that. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's, for me, what has been so refreshing. And this is not to poo-poo on Vancouver or BC or any other part of our beautiful country, but there is something so unique about the East Coast. There's something so unique, and I can't actually articulate it properly enough, but there's just something, it's something unique. And it almost gives me chills how this province has that ability to truly affect people in a really positive way if you're open to it.
Yep.
And the amount of community, and the fact that when I arrived, I needed to use the bathroom, and without hesitation, Penny invited me into her home to use the bathroom. I was more than willing to go into the woods, but and then your partner was downstairs and doing his thing, and he was just more than happy to allow me to be in the space. I think that is what's so refreshing. Like I said, is just people are more than willing, if you're needing it, to help you out, which is so nice and so encouraging. And I think what we need now more than ever, especially as we all go through this challenging time. Pivoting a bit, Deb, I'd love to get your take on what you have produced with Penny in regards to the chocolates, where you feel the greatest sense of pride with the finished product. What would be the one to give the listeners or the viewers an idea of this one piece is one that Deb is really excited about and proud of? What would be that piece?
I'd say the library.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was born out of the Writers' Festival. I think that was 3 years ago, that's where the idea came from. Was like we had the Writer Festival here, and the library didn't originally look like it does today. It was a lot bigger, and it's evolved over the last few years to make it, because it needs to travel. Like there's all these things you didn't think of when I first looked at designing it, but because people travel, it needs to be smaller, they need to ship it or whatever. Anyway, that's the one thing that, the one thing I'm most proud of is the library and how much work we put in it. And that reflects here. And when we go to markets, or even when I'm here, I tell them this is like a 95% Cape Breton gift.
Product, yeah. Because
the only thing that's not from Cape Breton is the Belgian chocolate that we use. But we temper the chocolate, we make the bars, we make the packaging, so everything in there is basically handmade by us.
Right.
So
it is Cape Breton as it gets.
Yeah, that's what I like to promote it as.
Deb's taking a quick break. Is she going to?
Penny is.
She's going to go give Penny a muzzle.
Phoebe, yeah, probably.
Sorry, Penny's going to give Phoebe a muzzle. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Phoebe is Penny and Ian's dog.
Yeah. She's a Westie.
She's the gallery pet. So when people do come into the shop and people are engaging with, let's just talk the chocolate specifically. What does it feel like when you see someone pick it up and engage with the product? Maybe even you get to witness them enjoying the product. Like, is there a sense of pride that you feel? Like, what happens to you innately in your body? Like, how are you responding to seeing someone opening it or interacting with it, tasting it? How do you react?
Well, I guess for me, the biggest thing is I've never worked in retail before. I've always, and in engineering, you're behind the scenes. You're not in front of the customer for a lot of the time, or even see how a customer would react to anything. So when I first came here and we did our first market, I said to Penny, the one thing that is really exciting is to see someone come up and say, wow, that looks really nice. And then we used to give out samples. We can't this year. Right. But give out samples and they taste it, and it's just that surprise that, wow, this actually tastes good. And you're like, yeah, and I made it. So that in itself. And then if you have somebody like again, when we're at the markets in Sydney, when they come back or they know who we are, like the following year or even at Valentine's Day, they come in specifically to buy your product, and I'm just like, this is amazing.
Right.
Like, you know, I just really get a high from just watching
Yeah.
people appreciate. And it's not even, for me too, it's also about the fact that they look at our product and the way it's packaged, and they kind of get a wow about, it's just not normal.
Right.
Like, because it's not mass produced.
It's not a Hershey bar.
Yeah.
It's not Mr. Big.
Exactly.
Right.
And a lot of people comment on the fact of how pretty it looks and stuff like that. And I know you can't taste the packaging, but to me, the product is one thing, but the way it's presented it just makes it that much nicer too. So
it's an energy. It all is energy, and it all gives something off. So it's important that it ticks the boxes for you guys as the producers, and also it represents what's inside of the packaging as well. So I've come back to Nova Scotia after being away for 15 years, and a lot has changed since I've been gone, but a lot has stayed the same. And we've kind of talked about that, and it's like the warmth, the hospitality that exists on the East Coast. But I would love, if we can, to look ahead with this business and look ahead with the chocolates specifically. 15 years from now, magic wand scenario, what does this business look like? What does this room look like? How would things be if you guys had a magic wand 15 years from now with this brand? Deb is laughing. Now Penny is laughing.
because in 15 years, we're hoping somebody
Comes and takes it from you.
has,
Okay.
ultimately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do in your opinion? What does it need to be that? What growth does it need to experience for it to be a brand that someone wants to come in and purchase? So ideally, like, does the packaging change? Does it stay the same? Do we create more bars? Do we create less bars? Do we turn this whole place into a chocolate factory? Like, what would be kind of the steps towards that, just to kind of pontificate a bit?
I think Deb, particularly because she makes a lot of I work the gallery,
Right.
So I have my days in the chocolate, but she does a lot of the chocolate and the packaging, is terrified of us getting bigger.
Oh yeah.
Well, simply because it's us. And it's hard. It's like any small business when it goes from being just us, and then you add more people, and you take on staff, and you things like that. But ideally, and it's already happening, is that the shop will grow. People will know we're here. It's a product. It's a Cape Breton product. We'll enjoy the flavors. Because when you were talking about the packaging, the other thing that I find that I love about our chocolates is some of the unusual flavors. Our white chocolate lavender.
Yeah.
Our Celtic Mist chocolate, which is made with an Irish whiskey liqueur.
Okay.
Our brown cow with Kahlua. Our chocolate bars as a crystallized ginger, a maple, the traditional mint, an espresso that has real espresso beans on it and cocoa nibs. So there's some of the standard you might find in another place, but our mousse munch, there's just fun names. There's fun flavors, peanut butter, pretzel, and premium nuts, things like that we put together that I'm excited to be selling. The one other thing that I'm really excited to be selling right now, and hopefully we'll continue this, is when you were talking about cooperation with others.
Yeah.
Over Father's Day, we worked with Leatherworks, and
nice.
2 of their beautiful pot holders held 3 of our chocolate bars, and it looked beautiful. And then now we're working with Sarah back from Wildfire Pottery, and she makes these beautiful necklaces. My Cape Breton's heart is my home, something like that.
My heart's in Cape Breton.
That's it. And then we make heart-shaped chocolates.
Oh, beautiful.
So we put them together as a package. So I look forward to making more of those connections and selling things together with other people. Because I think that's great.
Yeah.
I look forward to having this chocolate kitchen here. I look forward to people standing there
Yeah.
and kids going, ooh, oh,
Yeah.
and people getting a better idea of how chocolate is made. We're not doing bean to bar. That is not our goal.
Right.
Our goal is to take Cabotto, premium Belgian chocolate, which we use now, and do that in beautiful flavors and be out there on the edge trying new things. constantly evolving. I know Debbie's like, can we just stick to 5 bars this year, Penny, instead of 12? You know, so I'm sort of the one trying to push for more of these creative combinations of things. But for me, in the future, is a fully functioning chocolate shop. I'd love to be able to sell our hot chocolate.
Oh, okay.
I'd love to be able to have, the coffee tea, not as a sit down. I don't want a restaurant. I just want a place where people can stop in and get this experience, because a lot of tourism today is educational, and experiential,
interactive,
experiential, and we also offer workshops in chocolate. I'd love to develop that, because there's a lot of places around. I mean, I've gone to them. I've contacted chocolatiers when we go to my husband's English, when we go to England, in Nottingham. I went to some place we go down to Arizona and places like that. I contact local businesses and say, can I just, I don't want to steal your recipes. I just want to be with you, talk with you, and see. And I've learned so much by doing that. Yeah. And then, there's a lot of places that, couples can come, or you can have a group of people come in, a ladies' night. Yeah. Things like that. We've done a little bit of that, but I certainly see more of that happening. I'd love to do events with chocolates. I'd love to have a chocolate festival here on the island. There's a lot of things in regard to that sort of thing that for us to become a vibrant part of the entire economy here. So in that case, we are growing, but we're not a factory. Right. And that's a big difference between ourselves and another popular brand. That's just slightly off island, that it just, you know what I mean? We want to keep it genuine, authentic, sincere, which is what people, right, which is what people are. And that's one of the reasons you want to talk to people like ourselves is, and you said the visual is because you want that connection with people. Yeah. And of all the things I love making the chocolate and everything else. I love selling. I mean, just being
the
here. The
interaction with people.
Yeah. That I get such a joy out of seeing people. And one of the nice things for Deb this year is because Deb's been so much in the background. And like she talked about the, when we go to these festivals or these, markets and things, she actually gets to see people doing that, connection where during the summer so she's been working on Wednesday. So that's given her more of a sense, not a sense, but the joy to sharing that people love our work.
Yeah. It's so refreshing to, it's almost like a kitchen, if you will, in a traditional restaurant where the cooks are in the back and the front of house is in the front of house. And they're the ones that are, their shirts are ironed and everyone's clean and looking prim and proper and interacting with the guests. And you have and this is obviously just very like a broad stroking general statement. Then you have the cooks in the back and the men and women back there like burning themselves and cutting themselves and their shirts are dirty. But we're seeing even that within the hospitality world. We're seeing that change a bit as well. We're now seeing open format kitchens, and we're now seeing chefs and head chefs, men and women coming out of the kitchen and interacting with the people, the guests. And there's so much value in that for both sides. Yep. For someone like Deb, who is so immersed in the creation of the packaging and making the actual chocolates, to kind of come up for a breath. And then when she's taking that breath, she's interacting with people that are now enjoying what she's creating. And for me, that's what gives you the juice worth the squeeze. You're able to go back there and then keep creating because you're like, wow, that was, like you said, it gives you a high, right? It's such a rush. And that to me is why we do this. That to me is why we are in this industry of serving others. And I think we all are here, all of us. We are brought on this earth to serve others and to contribute. And I'm so proud of you guys for doing what you're doing, because I think it's so admirable and impressive and awesome that in this small little part of this amazing province, you're creating something so special that could reach, has potential to reach such a global audience. So I applaud you guys for what you're doing. And the fact that, again, as you both have kind of described to me and the listeners of what this is and how it works, and Deb does this and Penny does this, I picture you guys as this big chocolate bar machine. And for me, my interpretation of this chocolate machine that's walking around Cape Breton is Penny is her like head is in the clouds, and Deb is the feet on the ground.
That pretty much sums it up.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
As sisters, as family members, as
business partners.
As business partners, absolutely. I must say, though, that when you were talking about the people in the background at the restaurants, etc., and all that came to mind is Debbie and I wearing our hairnets.
I know.
because we look like our grandmother, way back when.
What was grandma's name?
Grandma Getty,
Shout
Jeanette.
Shout out Jeanette.
It's just that, once we become visible,
Right.
that has
It's
to
like
change.
we're not wearing these hair nets anymore.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get head coverings,
Yeah.
but not hair nets.
Because we just look absolutely absurd with these things on our heads. But
Well,
anyway,
I
it just
encourage
made me laugh.
you guys. I encourage you guys as well. There are some fantastic interactive spaces, like I think the ones that you're speaking about potentially creating here all over our country, but in Vancouver that I know intimately that operators have opened up. I'd be more than happy to introduce you to them just to have conversations about the build out, the design, all those things. I'm not sure where you're at in the phase, but there just gives some great ideas. Like you said, when you travel, you like to sit down with chocolatiers and kind of
Absolutely.
download their information.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big piece as well that I'm so grateful for. I'm very blessed that I was able to leave this province and come back because I come back with a totally different paradigm. And I think it's important to get out of your bubble a bit every once in a while, leaving the kitchen, not making chocolates every once in a while, you know what I mean? And just learning what else is going on.
I've been fortunate too because, I grew up in Ontario. I went to school in the States. I taught over in Russia.
Right.
Traveled Europe a lot. I'm married to a Brit, so I've seen a lot of Europe. So I feel like because I've had those experiences and that openness and that, I've seen the lowest of the low in Moscow and the best of the best. It just really gives you an appreciation. And then when you're bringing those people to our island and those people have high expectations, and when you've traveled and you know what those expectations are, then you can
facilitate.
That's right.
Fulfilling them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And connect with those people.
Yeah. So important. Changing speeds a little bit. I've asked everyone I've sat down with so far on this trip that I'm on this one question, and it's, I need you both to finish this sentence for me. We'll go one at a time. Deb, I'll start with you.
Thanks. Don't even have time to think about it.
That's why it's beautiful. I need you to answer this question. Sorry, finish this sentence for me. Cape Breton is?
Welcoming.
Love it.
But that word means so much more probably to me than most people if you're from Cape Breton. Because for me, it's about so many different opportunities. There is no way, with me living in London or Waterloo or any place in Ontario, in the larger cities that I've lived in, that this would ever exist. This exists because out here, there is the ability to take your dream and make something out of it and not having to have a ton of money. It's like people, the word welcoming means the community is welcoming, the province is welcoming. This area helps, they help each other. And again, you can have a dream, and at least when you're out here, you feel like there's the absolute possibility that it's going to happen, because you don't feel like there's those barriers up about, again, financial situations where you're going to live. There's challenges in getting people out here, don't get me wrong, but it's just the simple fact that for me, because I have been working behind the scenes my entire career, I worked in it. People don't know who's at the computer drafting something or designing something up. You're going to see the salesperson, right? So I've spent 35 years being that person behind. So I come out here, and again, that was a big step.
For sure.
I had a very good job, paying job, and I had to come out. I didn't have to come out here, but
You chose to
it
come
was an opportunity to be able to do something different with my life. And I'm a pretty safe, secure person, right? Like, but I don't regret it for a minute. I miss my family back in Ontario, but again, the word welcoming, you can just come here and you can just live. There's no, it was getting used to having to take an hour to get groceries or something like that was,
Right.
you have to change a few things that way. But I'm just so grateful that I came out here, and I'm grateful for the people that live out here too, because they have, welcomed me into the community.
That's
So,
fantastic.
yeah.
Well done. For someone that didn't really know what to say, you did an amazing job articulating that.
Thank you.
Penny, you've had a little bit more time to think about ending that sentence for me, but how would you end Cape Breton is?
The first word that came to mind, which is always the better one, is home. And pardon me. Well, that seems like a sort of trite and kind of advertising kind of thing. It's home because I have found a home here. We traveled a lot as children. My father and mother moved a great deal. I went to school in different places and in colleges and worked overseas and traveled such a great deal. Even my husband, who did a lot of traveling for his work in the hotel industry, for both of us, we've been here 22 years. Like,
Wow.
that's like mind-blowing that we've been in the same spot, 3 different homes, but still in the almost, within 40 minutes of each other. And so for me, this is home, and very, very dear friends. And then during the time we've been here, my family's moved out here. My father and his partner just live down the road. My sister is now here. We're certainly hoping that my niece and her partner are moving soon. So, some of those people, but really home, establishing a place that you live, that you love what you do. I live downstairs of the shop. That has its pluses and minuses.
For sure.
But walking up the wooden hill to work, bringing the dog, my little Westie, to work. So I'm sorry she's been such a bit of a
She's
pain.
been amazing.
But she got caught between the 2 doors. That's why she was doing all that whining. I
poor
couldn't figure it out.
Phoebe.
And then, of course, her nails on the... She finally...
She's right there.
Oh,
Yeah, she's
good. She
settled
just
down.
wanted me. That's
Yeah.
all. She's 13.
Just
She-
wanted mom.
That's right. And so, I like I said, it seems like trite, but when you've moved around and you've lived so many places, I would say that having this place, the stability of a home, taking the dog for a walk in the woods, you know what I mean? The beauty. I'm right beside the ocean.
Yeah, stunning.
And I'm grateful every day for it. Not a day goes by that, an eagle flies over, or a heron, or you see a junco, or whatever it is, a weasel, a canoe almost every morning in the summer down at a lake just down the way here. The beavers, the moose, it doesn't matter what it is. It's just, I'm really grateful
Yeah,
for that outdoorsy.
It's a very special part of the world, and I'm so lucky to be being reintroduced to this part of the province, because I keep saying stunning because I lack the vocabulary to describe it any other way. But the scenery's been stunning, the people have been stunning, the food's been stunning, like everything's been stunning, and I'm so appreciative of
I think one of the words is accessible.
Right.
There are so many places, and I think some of what Debbie's saying too, things are accessible. It's accessible to find a place to be here. It's not easy sometimes, but it is a place, it's accessible. People said that about, you can go to the Rockies, but it's over there.
Right.
You come to Cape Breton and the Cape Breton Highlands, and it's here.
Right.
You're in it.
Right.
It's not a distant thing. And so it's that accessibility and that connection is to me what it's all about. That moose is standing like 5 feet away from you, on the Skyline Trail,
Right.
or whatever it is. To me, all of it seems to come down to this very ugly word. It's not particularly helpful. It's not stunning or beautiful,
Right.
but it is the accessibility of everything.
Yeah, you're right.
But I think, sorry, I just
no,
want to say
go for
a
it.
quick thing, because moving out here, and yes, I mentioned the fact that it takes an hour
To get
to
groceries.
get anywhere.
Yeah.
But the thing is that 45 minutes, an hour drive is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's a world-class
And when
drive.
I drive into Sydney, even if I take the ferry, I'm like, look, I get to do this every single time. I get to see this scenery every single time. I don't have to fight the 401 to get anywhere.
Right.
And you come down towards the Seal Island Bridge, and you're just like, this is what I get to see every time I come in here, not somebody's bumper.
Yeah.
And it's that feeling you get. It's that feeling inside. There's no word for it. It's just that, for me, it's just that, wow, I get to do this. I get to see this, even in the winter time, as much as the snow's. I hated the winter. I love the winter out here. I do, which is surprising. But anyway, it's just that feeling you get when you drive around. And I think more for me, because I haven't lived out here my entire life, but just the beauty that you get to see when you do make that drive. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is truly a blessing that we get to experience this province like we do. We're truly blessed. I say on this podcast, I try to do it every episode. Sometimes I forget, but I'll say it right now while I think of it. I'm a big believer that time is the most valuable thing that we have in our lives. So I want to thank you both for donating your time to myself and the listeners. Sincerely, I do appreciate it. Coming in on a day where the shop is closed and making space, literally and figuratively, for myself and the listeners. I truly appreciate it. I have a much better understanding of who you are as individuals and also what's going on with your incredible business. But I do have final 2 questions for you both before I let you go. I ask every guest on this podcast these 2 questions. Deep breath from Penny. There's 2 of you, so you can share the load here, which is great. So the first question is the half a dozen have-tos. Stay with me here. The show is called the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast. So I have for you both the half a dozen have-tos. I need from you, you can do 1 each or you can do up to 3 each. Things you've experienced in your life that you feel like our listeners have to do, whether it is a canoe ride on a certain lake in Cape Breton, whether it is taking a moment and breathing in the view at the bridge, or a meal you've eaten, or a book you've read, or a trip you've taken, or a concert you've been to. So I need from both of you either 1 item or 3 items where you feel like our listeners have to do it. Something you've done in your life that you feel like our listeners have to do.
Start.
Go for it.
I'm going to go overseas, and I'm going to say you have to go to St. Petersburg.
Get over to St.
You
Petersburg.
have to go to St. Petersburg. I don't have any real desire to return. I mean, I lived in Moscow for the 4 years I was there, but St. Petersburg, for beauty, I mean, you can go to the other island, the other countries as well, and just take it. But amazing place.
I like
just
it.
Amazing.
I like it. Deb.
I'm going to go deep here. And
Okay.
I'm going to say, take the chance. Because I've done it twice in my life. Like I say, I'm a very secure person. Work, money, money.
Right.
And back in 95, I quit my job, and I went to Australia for 5 months, and I spent a month in Thailand, and that's not me. But I took that chance, and I did it, and I would totally recommend, if you have that opportunity, just take it. I had the opportunity to come out here.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it was risky. Didn't know what was going to happen. But it was the best thing I ever did. And it's just take that chance. Take that chance.
I love it.
Yeah.
So powerful. I appreciate you sharing that. Do you have any more, Penny, you want to share?
In regards to the island, because I give lots of advice to people. If you want to do a challenging but rewarding hike, walk up Franny.
I've heard Franny
the view
is
from the top. I mean, we lived at the Celtic Lodge for 4 years, my husband and I, and the walk on Middlehead but you walk up Franny and the view from the top of Franny. And I know there's lots of other hikes that I've not done, but the view from the top of Franny I always felt like I deserved a badge by the time I got up there. It was such a hike.
Maybe we should facilitate that, a little chocolate badge, a chocolate Franny hike badge. Eh?
There you go.
We should talk to Parks Canada or whoever else owns that land and strike a little deal. Deb, back to you. Any other have-tos?
You have to do Donalda's boat tour out to the Bird Islands.
I've heard
out
of
of
this.
English Town.
I've heard of this.
She is amazing. I love going out in the water.
Donaldo?
Donalda.
Donalda. Okay.
She's out of English Town. And I make it a point of going every single year. You get to see the puffins, the eagles, and the amount of birds and the seals out on those 2 islands is just absolutely amazing. And it's a fun ride. And the coastline is gorgeous. I always try to find my house, but you can hardly see it. But I thoroughly enjoy doing that. And it's so nice to be out on the water. And Donalda's amazing. She, tells you about all the different birds and stuff like that. So definitely recommend doing the Bird Island tours out of English Town.
Shout out
Sure.
Donalda.
Mm-hmm.
Penny, back to you for a last one. Do you have one more?
Yes. Here on the island on the Cabot Trail, one of my favorite places to send people, because it isn't on the trail, it's just off of it, it's called White Point. Not to be confused with the White Point down by Halifax.
Yes.
This is White Point, which you go from Neils Harbor, you go through and up, and it's out on a peninsula again, and it's just jaw-dropping. Like you park down at the wharf. I tell people you walk up the little hill, you walk out on this gravel path, and it is beyond. And at the very, very end of it is a cemetery, and there are thousands of birds on the rocks nesting there, and you're seeing this spectacular panoramic view of the ocean, but also of the highlands. When you're out there, and it's one of the places because it's off the beaten path.
Right.
I always tell my customers, because I get the map out when people are here and the whole 9 yards. Like I guess it's back from my bed and breakfast
chocolates.
days. Well, my bed and breakfast days of telling people where to, because a lot of times people get focused on those little tiny phones and they don't get the big picture.
Right.
So anyway, that's one place that is just breathtaking. But there's many, many more. But that's the one I know, and I know it's one of Debbie's favorite spots as well.
Last one for you, Deb. Last have to. Do you have one?
Stop at every lookout.
Okay.
Because all the way around the trail.
Yeah.
Because it changes every day. It's not like you could go out there today and it looks one way, and tomorrow will be the cloud formations around here are just absolutely stunning. And again, even if it's raining, it's a different view, even though you're kind of looking at the same thing. It really, truly just gives you a different feeling every time you look at it. So stop for more than 2 seconds. Stop and really look at what you're seeing, because it truly is amazing. And yeah, I remember we were over at Shetty Camp and the wind was so bad. We opened the doors and the map flew out of the car, but it stuck on the rocks.
Oh, so cool.
But the next day it could be
right,
calm as anything.
pristine.
But you're just getting a totally different experience. So stop for more than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then just really absorb what you're seeing.
I like that.
Yeah.
Those are great. The last one I have for you ladies before we let you go is the half a dozen haven't yet. So same premise, but a little bit different in that I'm looking for things that you've yet to experience in your life, kind of a bucket list thing, if you will. So perhaps it is a trip you haven't taken, perhaps it is an excursion you haven't gone on, or a hike you haven't done, or a meal you haven't eaten, or a chocolate bar you haven't taken out of a concept to an actual raw product. So what would be, from each of you, 3? And Deb, we'll start with you this time. That's all right. I need one haven't yet. And you know what?
Okay, I haven't done Franny yet.
Oh, well, there
which
you go.
is really
you gotta,
bad.
You got to get up there.
Exactly.
You got to bring your Franny
I definitely have
chocolate
to do
badge
that, yes.
with you.
Take my moose munch with me.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, she's climbing Franny. Penny, for yourself?
The company that I got my chocolatiers, Eco Chocolat, they offer programs to take you to chocolate producing companies throughout the world.
Okay.
Whether it be down South Ecuador or whatever, in terms of where chocolate comes from and the production of it, or more particularly, I'd love to go to Belgium.
Yes.
I'd love to go to places where these things and the best of chefs, and being able to have that chance. They're very expensive, so that's not possible, but that would be something that I would love to go on these excursions, these, week-long trip to Paris or whatever. Mind you, we did get a chance to go to Paris, and we each got to do things. Like, we each had our own little bucket list. Of course, every day that I got to plan was going to chocolate shops.
Good for you.
In France.
Nothing
But
wrong with that.
that would be one
But
thing.
that's fun, because that's where we absorb some ideas,
Yeah.
different ways to do
Yeah,
things,
definitely.
like the hot chocolate and different things
Inspiration.
like that.
Inspiration.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Any other, and you know what, before I let you guys finish, if you do have more, is a lot of people that I ask this question to, they do have a few things, and it's usually traveling, and it's usually experiencing certain things. But I've asked a handful of people, so I've asked everyone this question, and a handful have said nothing. They don't have anything they haven't done yet. They feel like they've done enough. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, I don't know what else to say to Brad or the listeners, like what could be another haven't yet? Maybe you've lived a fulfilled life. Maybe you do still have more that you want to do, but maybe you don't. So
Maybe I just don't know what it is right yet.
there you
I
go.
don't feel that there's nothing that I've fulfilled my life,
Right.
but as I've experienced my whole life, things change.
Like
and
the weather.
Exactly. And today, I might feel everything's great, but tomorrow's an opportunity may come along and say, hey, I never thought about that. I'm going to jump on that bandwagon, or I'm going to
Yeah.
go do that. So I wouldn't say I've limited myself to live my life and there's
Right.
nothing I'm looking forward to, because tomorrow is a completely different day, and
Yeah.
just got to open your mind, and I'll probably find something else that I'm going to want to do.
So well said. Penny, other haven't yet's for you?
I don't know if it's a haven't yet, but surprised and looking forward to seeing where the chocolates go.
Yeah,
Moving
me too.
this chicken.
Hey,
the
we
kitchen.
We can do chickens
Blah,
too.
blah,
We can
blah.
do chickens too.
I'm vegetarian. Moving the kitchen in here and seeing where we go with that. I mean, there are so many opportunities and possibilities.
Yeah.
And I think for me, the bucket list is just to see, wow, how far can we take this? What can we do? How can we, I mean, we have a slogan there, happiness. Chocolate is happiness you can eat.
Okay.
And it's not original to us.
Yeah.
It's quoted, but chocolate is happiness you can eat. And I just want to see how much happiness we can bring to other people and to our own selves in terms of doing what we love to do and keeping that enjoyment. We aren't young. Which is why Debbie earlier said in 15 years, we're hoping we don't own the business.
Hey,
but you never know.
you never know.
That's right. And I'm just really looking forward to, I mean, I've been so blessed to be able to travel as much as I have. So the travel, other than to learn more about chocolate, the traveling really isn't a big part of what I want to do. I want to stay home and I want to be able to do things here and enjoy this. And I'll admit I wouldn't mind a little bit more time to myself eventually.
Yeah, that's important.
Just to be able to sit and read. I do love to read. But at the same time, I just take it as it comes, and I look forward to it. I look forward to every day.
Good for you. I look forward to getting an email from you both saying, Brad, you need to come back with your cameras. We need to do a brand new episode from our beautiful new kitchen that we just
That'd be
built
fun.
in.
That'd be
and
fun.
we'll cut a ribbon and we'll pop champagne and we'll eat chocolate. Sound like a
Sounds
plan?
like a brilliant idea.
Yeah,
We might
if-
have to stay 6 feet apart, but we can still
No,
do it.
no. Hopefully by then we'll get rid of that. And if you guys are listening, please stay tuned for updates on what's happening with the kitchen in this space. So before I do let you go, if people do want to reach out, engage with you, maybe they're in the area, maybe they're in the Atlantic bubble, maybe they're not, maybe they're in Germany, Italy, France, Australia, Vancouver. If they like what they're hearing and they want to engage with your product, how best they do that? Online shop, social
We have
media.
an online shop. We're on Facebook. We have a web page,
What are the address? What's the web address?
CabottoChocolates.com,
Okay.
and they can contact us at CabottoChoc@gmail.com.
Perfect.
They're also, I mean, the chocolates is part of a website for the Cabot Trail Art or Colorature Art Gallery, because
Okay.
that's where we're
It's all
still
connected.
sort of connected together. The umbrella is
Right.
the gallery. The gallery art will still be here.
Yes.
Well, a smaller portion of it, but still honoring some of the absolutely phenomenal artists here on the island, as well as, continuing to focus on the chocolate.
Yeah, it's an inspiring space, and I want to thank you so much for having me into it. As look at the timing on that, the light just burnt out, the battery just died. Again, sincere thank you to you both for making time for me and the listeners. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it.
Thank you. From my perspective, this is a conversation I don't think Debbie and I have ever had.
No.
Like, I've learned things about my sister that I didn't know before. I had an inkling, but
Right.
not those kind of things. You don't always articulate those. So you've also facilitated a family meeting
Amazing.
and self-discovery and discovery of the other. So
Yeah,
that's
well,
been fabulous as well.
It's an absolute honor. I look forward to doing this again. Sincerely, when the kitchen is installed, let's come back and let's see it and share it with all the listeners. Let them know what's going on. And I always say to my guests on this show, and I mean it, that now that we've shared this time, I consider you both to be friends. So if I can do
Same here.
anything to help you personally or professionally, I will do my absolute best. So if I can share your story more or help to promote your brand, I'm more than willing to fly that flag. So thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for approaching us, Brad. We so appreciate this.
Thanks for being open to it. Okay, guys, the light is burnt out. That means we have to go. That is Deb. She did amazing. Deb, you did awesome.
Thanks.
That is Penny. You did awesome, Penny. I am Brad. This is the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in as you do week after week. It means the absolute world to me. If it wasn't for you, this podcast wouldn't exist. That is it. Until next time, guys, you know what to do. Be good and do good. We did it.
Stay
Be
safe.
safe.
Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Thanks.
Done. Easy. How was that for you guys?